because as every hour goes by, there are less and less Iranian launchers that are still intact. The removal of the Iranian regime's top leadership and being able to defang the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and other assets, military assets, is in Israeli national interest. Well, thank you very much for having me. I think we can take the administration at its word in that the number one objective is to dismantle the Iranian regime's security apparatus. That includes command and control, which is the political and military leadership of the Islamic Republic. The first hours of the strike appear to have targeted them in particular, but then of course the strikes continue because there are still many targets that have to be serviced in order to be actually able to dismantle all of the security apparatus that this regime has had in place for decades now. So that's leaders as well as hardware. Certainly, and frankly, I just flew into Honolulu out of Washington, D.C., and I saw several Middle East airlines that had been parking their aircraft in Washington. We couldn't fly back home. So yes, the regime is lashing out at any and all targets that they possibly can, primarily civilian targets, infrastructure targets. But again, as these airstrikes continue, I think you're going to see a lessening of Iranian ability to be able to reach out and launch punitive and retaliatory strikes, because as the war continues, as the air war continues, there'll be less of an ability for the Iranians to be able to command and control those assets, as well as actually those assets, the launchers that will still be available for them to strike, because as every hour goes by, there are less and less Iranian launchers that are still intact, and the ability for Iran's remaining military and political leadership to actually be able to determine what to go after and how. I think as we've seen throughout President Trump's tenure, both during his first term and now in his second term, he is willing to strike a deal, even with some folks that we might consider unsavory. So let's take, for instance, taking Maduro out of Venezuela in January. He is now has, it appears to be, a relationship with the new president of Venezuela, Delcy Rodriguez, who was part of the Maduro regime beforehand. So he's willing to strike deals with folks that may have been considered not necessarily the most palatable partners for the United States. So I think, again, it's still early days in this operation in Iran. Iran and Venezuela are definitely not the same types of scenarios. So we'll see who remains standing, if you will, in Iran to take the helm of leadership, and if they are willing to negotiate with the United States. Well, I certainly wouldn't characterize what the Israelis have or have not done as having torpedoed anything, candidly. It was the United States and Iran that were involved in bilateral negotiations. So I would take that argument off the table. I think the Israelis, who have faced the brunt of the Iranian terror regime's actions, both directly through the use of missiles and drone attacks on Israel, but even perhaps more profoundly in the decades-long financing, training, and organizational support to terrorist organizations such as Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. It's obvious that the removal of the Iranian regime's top leadership and being able to defang the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and other assets, military assets, is in Israeli national interest.